10 facts you don't know about Charles Oliveira. One of the most charismatic and dominant stars in the UFC right now is Charles Oliveira. In addition to having an impressive career, the UFC champion has succeeded whereas others have failed in establishing his legacy. Oliveira has competed in over 40 MMA matches and has won over 30 of those contests in his favor. His path to success was anything but straightforward, with victories over opponents like Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson, and Jim Miller. He has faced some of the most difficult competition in the UFC. Charles once tweeted, "1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you." There are many different facts about Charles Oliveira, but we are going to discuss the best 10 facts here that the UFC fans should be aware of. Number 10. In the beginning, he was impossible to stop. Every fighter hopes to have a successful debut, but only a select few are able to start their careers with a win streak that exceeds 10. Oliveira was able to begin his career with a 14-fight winning streak, which continued during his stint with the UFC. He wasn't up against the level of ability he is fighting now, but any bout can finish at any time. Jim Miller, a well-known figure among UFC supporters, was the first person to defeat him. What's more remarkable is that only one of his 14 victories required a decision. Number 9. He assists his neighborhood. Oliveira turned around after defeating Tony Ferguson and gave his home food worth thousands of dollars and hundreds of pounds. The COVID-19 epidemic had an especially negative impact on Preinha Goarucha, who required assistance. You all are aware that some families had difficulty during the pandemic. Oliveira stated, "Today, I had the chance to give food to the Preinha neighborhood. Please assist those in need if you can. Small actions can have a big impact. Try it out. Since I grew up in that neighborhood, my friends and I agreed about meals for them. These are essentially non-perishable food kits." Charles posted on Instagram on Conor McGregor, "It would be a very good fight for me. It would put a lot of money in my pocket. And that's the most important thing. And it would also be really good for my legacy, for me to have in my story." Number 8. A blend of cultures is his nickname. Fans of Oliveira are probably familiar with his name, Du Bronx. They can be unaware of the name's origins and the meaning behind it. Oliveira is not from the Bronx, despite the fact that his name does mean "from the Bronx" in his literal sense. He accepted the word and exploited it to his advantage rather than weaving it negatively. As a result, he relates effectively with people from both his own Brazil and the Bronx. Number 7. His initial dream was to become a soccer superstar. It's not all that surprising, and that not many MMA stars had aspirations of becoming professional fighters in the beginning. It goes without saying that hardly everyone wants a life filled with that kind of brutality, and Oliveira was no exception. Oliveira desired to play professional soccer in Brazil as opposed to one day being a well-known fighter. Even that is a lofty goal, and several problems he would soon encounter would drastically alter the course of his life. Oliveira's biggest supporters will be happy that his soccer career didn't work out. Number 6. He once won 3 matches in the same night. The fact that he won 3 fights in a row is certainly noteworthy, but those were also his first 3 professional battles. He won all 3 fights, one by submission and the other 2 by TKO, which undoubtedly cemented his status as a threat in the MMA community. Each night would include a clean knockout, with the other victory being completed by either a TKO or a submission. It's funny you calling out Nate, who hasn't won a fight in years, and same time saying, "I have to earn something." Just say it straight that you're scared to lose. Your jiu-jitsu won't work in our fight, and you know that. Makhachev, who is on a 10-fight winning streak, wrote in a response to Oliveira. Number 5. Harness Racing and Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira, the reigning world champion, met down with the MMA Sika to talk about facing Poirier and his passion for harness racing. One type of horse racing is harness racing. In 2021, he defeated Hall of Famer Tim Tetrick in a harness racing demonstration battle. It makes me feel wonderful, since sometimes I simply need a little vacation after a hard camp and intense training. Here, I feel at peace, he informed the UFC. Number 4. Potentially life-changing illnesses were diagnosed in him. Oliveira began to have serious health issues when he was still relatively young. He was allegedly experiencing excruciating pains all over his body, and at one point, he would even have trouble walking. At some point, he discovered that in addition to having a heart murmur, he also had rheumatic fever, which was impairing his ability to walk. Here's a conversation between Chris Weidman and Charles Oliveira. Chris Weidman said about him, "Thank you so much, champ. You're an inspiration. Been amazing to be able to watch your career, from Ring of Combat to cutting weight with you in Chicago 2012. You are a true champ." Charles Oliveira said, "Best wishes, Chris. You are an inspiration." Number 3. Young Oliveira supported his family by working. He was compelled to assist his family in making ends meet after years of mounting medical expenses. He used to assist his mother in selling cheese salads out on a trailer when they were kids. He made contacts in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu scene. His family could not pay the bills to support his BJJ training, even he started training, but an uncle of his helped out. He received instruction from BJJ World Champion Roger Coelho during this time. Number 2. He exactly retaliated for his first ever loss. When he arrived in the UFC, it appeared that Oliveira would not be stopped until he met Jim Miller. In the first round of their fight, Miller submitted him in just under 2 minutes. Oliveira had to be suffering from his first loss. He would have a chance at redemption in the future, and he most surely did. Oliveira beat Miller even quicker in what was deemed the performance of the evening, taking revenge of his defeat at Miller's hands. In the first minute and 15 seconds of the fight, he quickly submitted Miller. We are among big dogs. Up and downs are part of our journeys. I admire Tony Ferguson a lot. You have the history inside the octagon. Head up, El Kukai. If you wish, let's train together in Shoot Box's headquarters in Sao Paulo for your next fight. You are a brother, Oliveira posted. Number 1. He is a UFC record breaker. Everyone is aware of the Oliveira's skill as a fighter. That much is true even among those who dislike the man. His outstanding achievements more than speak for themselves. He not only holds a lot of records, but he also breaks some of them. He currently has 15 submission victories to his credit, with 11 being the next closest total in UFC history. Donald Cerrone is second with 16, while Oliveira holds the record for the most finishes in UFC history with 18. This feat is as impressive and accomplished with a smaller gap. He said, "Just for the record, I like to break records and I want to break another one. Fighting twice in the same night, I can knock Conor out and make Diaz tap. What do you think, Dana White?" So, after all these facts about the Charles Oliveira, what do you think of him? Which fact you like the most about him? Please give us your feedback in the comments below. Thank you for watching.